Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the extremely late episode 2 of the Plague Scythe Podcast. Today's international guest once again lives halfway across the world, but fortunately in a bit more of a reasonable time zone so I can sleep in like the societal leech that I am. From Moscow, Russia, I'd like to welcome a modern musical renaissance man, a man of 1,000 haircuts, and a fellow 8-string slinger, Mr. Roman Arsafes. Thanks for coming on, man.
Hey, man. How are you?
Get some pizza, I hear?
Yeah, kind of.
I didn't know that was still a thing in Russia, but I guess I'll learn a lot about that.
Yeah.
How did we first get in contact? I want to say I'd seen a couple of your videos, like tone tests and a couple playthroughs. Was it when you reached out to me about the Fortin 33?
Yeah. I've also been seeing you around, and then I just saw you had that 33 pedal, and I was really interested in what it actually does. So yeah, that was the time.
Okay, cool. I was going to let you know I've got the grind pedal and the Protone signature Tosina Bossy thing too, if you want to do that again, because I'd be super interested to see what the differences are.
Yeah, actually, that would be really interesting. We could do that.
Cool. Yeah, that sounds good. So I guess the obvious question is, what does Arsafes mean?
Well, that's actually it's kind of it's an Egyptian version of Hercules, actually. It's kind of one of the lesser gods in the Egyptian pantheon. So when I was like 14 or 15 years old, I just saw it in some book, some history book, and I was like, oh, okay, let's Google it. And no one had that nickname, and I was like, okay, now it's mine.
Very nice. That's a miracle thing anymore, being able to find any adjective or something that someone hasn't already taken.
Yeah, totally.
I'm guessing that was the same thing with Kartikeya. That is is that an Indian god, if I remember correct?
Yeah, that's an Indian god. It's the war god in India.
Gotcha.
And it was also free. No, actually, there was one band called Kartikeya in I think in New Jersey, and but they had like 2 subscribers on MySpace, and I was like, oh, screw them.
And it's New Jersey; they don't count anyway. So
yeah.
So you're full blown into the mythology, folk music kind of thing. I really dig it.
Oh, thanks.
I guess I'd like to know a little bit more. I'm trying to do a little homework here, listening to both the projects you're involved in. So you've got Arsafes Union, you got Kartikeya. Is there anything else I don't know about? Is that pretty much it?
Well, the Arsafes Union, it's more of a kind of a label kind of thing. So it's not a project actually.
I see.
I just use the name like to release my music on Bandcamp and stuff like that. So the project itself is just Arsafes. It's just kind of my solo outlet. So that's kind of the project, and mainly those 2, and I also have like a new project called Qatari. It's kind of synthwave with industrial metal, blah blah blah. It'll be out, I think, like in a month or something.
Cool. Definitely keep an eye on it.
And some other bands that are just like coming and going.
So you got your own record label. You're basically capable of being a one-man musician. You're a mix engineer. You mastered your own stuff, at least from what I've seen.
Yeah.
How long did it take? Is this just like trial and error because you just wanted to do it? Or I guess what was your process to basically master the whole music production avenue?
Well, yeah, it's mainly trial and error. I mean, I started out in like 2004, I think. Well, I was just doing like home demos, and actually I started with the Windows sound recording software that it has.
Sweet.
That awful little window. And I even managed to, well, let's call it mix in it. It had a mix function that you could just like paste in some other audio file, and I was trying to do things with that. Well, obviously it didn't work out. So I switched to Sony SoundForge, I think it was called. It's like an ancient sound recording program. And yeah, I did like stuff with the recording Metal Zone, just like line in and drums straight from Guitar Pro. I just had my audio cable go out of the output of my sound card and right into the input of the sound card just to record the MIDI drums because I didn't know how to do it in a human way. So yeah, that's how it started. And then, well, just I started watching stuff and trying to learn from people, from bands I know, and et cetera, et cetera. And yeah, it just eventually kind of started to work out.
I would say you got it pretty well figured out. You play drums as well, or do you just program?
I play them like to some extent.
Okay.
So I can play them, but I don't play them like normally. But yeah, I totally understand what's going on with drums.
I think most of us suck at programming early on, so that's not the first time I've heard a story similar to that I started out on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't even. It was like it's almost MIDI, but it's not MIDI. You had to like manually click every beat. It was absolutely terrible, but it did work.
Yeah.
So I guess how long has Cardiakia been around? You're in Encyclopedia Metellum, so that means something cool, I guess.
Well, yeah, kind of. It started in, well, briefly. No, that's not the right word, right? Mainly, yeah. Sorry, I'm too Russian.
Your English is better than most Americans, so you're already.
Thanks. Okay. So mainly, it started in 2005. That's when our first EP came out, and well, we were recording it like for half a year before that. So the end of 2004, 2005.
That's a pretty good run.
Well, it would be if we would be like popular now.
Yeah, I guess that was my next question. Is
but we're not.
How much have you penetrated the scene? Is that something that you can live off of? I don't know if you've got like a day job or you just basically play music for a living.
Well, Cardiakia, of course, doesn't give me my bread. That's more of just like an emotional outlet for me. But my day job is actually mixing and mastering. So I mix bands.
Okay.
And etc. I do like arrangements for some pop artists and session guitar playing and like stuff like that. So yeah, mainly it's music in all forms.
Gotcha. I bet you have some interesting mixing and mastering stories, because I hear the dealing with other musicians in a mixing environment can be a little taxing.
Yeah, kind of. Well, I mean, of course there are good bands and great music that I mixed, but there were some really awful experiences. But we'll not give out any names, of course.
Yeah, I just keep hearing stories about, tell them, yeah, I'll remix it for free if you're not in love with it the first time, and then 9 mixes later where you're like turning down cymbals by 0.3 decibels, you've pretty much had it.
Well, actually, that's not even the biggest problem, like turning down cymbals. The bigger problem is when your client kind of starts using you as their hands and try to get in depth into all the stuff they don't really understand. And that's when the problem really starts, and that's when the mix gets awful, and we have like 10 revisions, and it just totally sucks. But they're like, okay, now this sounds good, because they know that they kind of made it in the end. So I don't know. Well, yeah, of course.
I would say, have you dealt with any like edit freaks that want to move kicks and everything dead on the beat?
Actually, I don't work that much with live drums. I mean, I'm more of a like drum programming guy. So mostly I encourage all my clients to also use programmed drums, because I mean, it's like only 1% of like 100 who can actually give me good sounding live recorded drums. So that's why I just go with programs like almost for everyone. So we already have all the stuff in the grid.
Gotcha.
Don't need to do that.
Makes sense. Drums are like one of the most expensive things to
totally
to produce. So for that environment,
actually, some people don't really understand that, and they record really bad sounding live drums bring them in, and when you tell them like, dude, this is not gonna work, let's just like program it, they're like, no, program drums like are for dickheads, and this is all bad. We'll use the live ones. Maybe they don't sound as good, but they're live. Like, that's so true. And that's also kind of a problem to actually explain like why that's a bad decision.
Yeah, it's almost like we've got all these masterfully recorded samples for a reason. Stuff, it gets hard.
Yeah, of course.
You kind of mentioned doing recording for pop artists as well. I guess that explains a lot of your pop remixes, because I'm not into pop music at all, but I absolutely love like some of your Rihanna, Nicki Minaj covers. They're infinitely better than the originals. They're very cool.
Oh, thanks.
So do you just have a huge musical palette and you're really into that stuff, or is this just like a result of dealing with pop musicians?
Actually, yeah, I'm kind of into that stuff because, I mean, I actually started working, like seriously working with pop musicians maybe only like a couple of years ago. So, and I did all those pop covers like way back. So yeah, I kind of have a soft spot for pop R&B, like kind of stuff. Not all of them, of course, but some of the like biggest names like Beyonce, Rihanna, and all those people. So yeah, I kind of love that music.
Cool. That's not a very usual thing to hear. Sometimes you'll hear metal players be, yeah, I'm into classical, I'm into this, but generally pop isn't one of them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I can kind of hear almost the poppy influence in some of your tracks, and that's not a negative thing, of course, but the folk obviously being a huge portion of that. Where did that come from? Is that just kind of ingrained into the culture there, or is it something that you studied and delved into?
Well, actually, with all the so-called like folk influences, for example, in Kardikia, they're not really actually folk. It's more, it's kind of Indian classical music. So of course, I understand that for foreigners, it'll sound like folk music.
Right.
But folk, it's music made by just like folk. But this is more influenced on Indian classical, like composed music, composed by classical composers. It just sounds like this because it's Indian. But anyway, I actually lived in India for my whole childhood, so
oh, wow.
That's kind of where it came out of, yeah. And then when I returned back to Russia, I kind of forgot about that for a couple of years, but then I started like learning to play the guitar and like blah blah blah. And then when we actually started the band, it was called Velayel. Before that, we just like wanted to play symphonic black metal, like Dimmu Borgir, Emperor kind of stuff. And but then I just remembered, like, wait a second, I lived in India, maybe I should use that. And that's where actually I heard Nile, Orphanland, and all those kind of ethnic themed bands. And I thought it was like a great idea, and I just decided to try and concentrate on those Indian influences and just try to mix it up with metal and see what happens. So yeah, that's how it got.
That is extremely cool. Yeah, the ethnic theme stuff like that is among my favorites. So it's one great way to stand out. I'm guessing you were probably too young to be in the metal scene in India.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wasn't in any metal scene.
Yeah,
So.
I imagine so. That's an interesting dynamic in and of itself. You got so much of that area that's pretty much third world, but it's like a lot of very devout metalheads. So pretty interesting. A lot of your videos, speaking of foreign stuff, is I see a lot of gear I don't recognize. Is some of our common American, European brands like MXR, Dunlop, Boss, is that as easy to get over there, or are you just into custom stuff? Like I see you got like an AZG amp head. I didn't even know what that was until I did some research.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can get anything here. It's not a problem, actually. We have plenty of shops. You can get like, well, maybe not some custom diesel amp, but you can get any Mesa Boogie, Marshall, anything orange. I don't know, anything you want basically here, like in a day or two. The thing is that I actually discovered like maybe a couple of years ago that we actually have some really interesting like small brands in Russia who do like really quality stuff, really quality gear. And I just started like my research. I started seeing what they can offer, and yeah, that's how I contacted AZG. It's just like one man in St. Petersburg. He does these amps, and I mean they're like top notch. Then I use some gear from AMT. It's like a brand from Siberia.
They are. I'm familiar with them.
Yeah. I think many people abroad actually use them. And recently I started also working with a guitar brand. It's called Inspector Guitars. They're from Moscow, and they're like really young. I think they're like 1.5 years old. So, and also their guitars are like outstanding, especially for the price they offer. I mean, this guitar, the Katana 7-string that I use now, it's just let me calculate. It's
Holy
like $600.
Yeah, I literally just loaded the web page, and it's saying between $450 and $800 US. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That looks like a $2,000, $3,000 guitar to me.
Yeah, they're really awesomely built, and they also use the hardware that they use. It's not like branded. It's not Hipshot or like Gota or anything. It's mostly like how to call it, made for them like by some factories they just have a deal with.
Gotcha.
But
So they bulk order and get everything cheap.
Yeah, kind of. But it like totally works. It's absolutely on par with the famous brands, and I mean, like, wow. I was really fascinated. So yeah, that's why I actually started to use like plenty of Russian stuff nowadays. And then actually I kind of thought about it, and I just recalled my memories about Meshuggah using different stuff, and actually like much of the stuff they use, it's like Swedish, so like nah.
Right, like the Nevborns and the M8s and all that.
Yeah. So yeah, because before that I used mainly like ordinary stuff, like the branded famous stuff. But then, yeah, I don't know. It sounds cool. It works great. So why not?
Yeah, I always like seeing some lesser known brands pop up, and that's an argument I've been making for the longest time. And I'm glad someone agrees with me. Is that you can make these high quality pieces of gear like this when you do that kind of contract manufacturing. Because I made a video ranting about how I'm so tired of all the same fixed bridges and EMG pickups on extended range guitars. Yeah,
totally.
Okay, so you didn't see that one. And the Katana looks like they've solved every one of those problems, and we need more of that in the world. So that's super cool.
Yeah, totally.
What made you want to start playing 7 and 8 string guitars? I don't talk to many people that do play ERGs, so as someone that does, I'm always interested to hear your journey and how you approach the instrument.
Well, I think it started when actually I think it started with Korn, which is like not a popular kind of opinion these days, because everyone is like, okay, I saw like Meshuggah or Periphery or whoever, Animals as Leaders. Yeah, I think I actually like kind of noticed the 7-string guitar when I came to know about Korn. But actually in those times I had a stereotype, like everyone who plays a 7-string guitar kind of looks like Korn, so it's like I shouldn't get one because probably everyone will think that I'm just like a Korn fanboy. But after some time I was like I became okay with it, and I got like my first 7-string. But yeah, I think it was Korn.
Yeah, you definitely don't hear that as much. But to be fair, at the start of 7-string playing, it was really like Steve Vai, Korn,
yeah.
Then Slipknot eventually got one. That's it. So that's a totally legitimate answer. How do you? I mean, I can kind of tell from some of the playthroughs I've seen, and at least how you approach it in the context of your music. But for me, like a 7-string guitar is just like a 6-string with another baritone string. It's like playing a down tuned, 6-string for me. 8 strings like a totally different beast, though. Do you feel the same way? Do you approach it as playing almost like an entirely different instrument?
Well, actually, yeah, I think I have to agree with you on this because actually I dropped the 8-string like recently. I came back to 7 strings and I sold all my 8 strings, so now I have only 7 strings.
Oh, okay.
Because the 8-string feels like kind of a different instrument. But I kind of always switch guitars. I use like 7-6-8, 7-6-8, and it kind of has a weird feeling when you get back to the 8 and you're like, okay, now I have to again like feel myself comfortable with it and stuff like that. So especially with the fact that I just noticed that I can play all the stuff I play on an 8-string just like through retuning my baritone 7-string, and like I'll be cool with that. So I don't know. So yeah, now I'm a 7-string guy again.
Cool. No, that totally works. I think a lot of 8-string players should probably approach it that way, to tell you the truth.
Well, some of them,
There's
yeah,
only a handful.
because they don't use all the capabilities of the 8-string. Just as me, I don't use it, so like, why should I play it?
True. I agree. Honestly, if it weren't for some of the lead playing that I needed the highest string on, I probably would go to 7, because I found the same experience. I skipped 7s entirely and went right to 8. And I do, it's like, yeah, I've got my 6-string guitars. I play them this way. I play my chugga type stuff on the 8-string and leads in a different way. And then I got bass guitar. It's like a totally different, play style for me. So I think it's a smart move. What's your typical signal chain look like? Obviously, your amp head sounds absolutely amazing.
Thanks.
What kind of, impulse responses or cabs, pedals, that kind of stuff do you use for rhythm and leads?
Well, mainly, it's pretty simple. It's my A Z G head. In the input, I put Moore equalizer. It's called a Moore Graphic G. Yeah, here it is on my table. I use it kind of as that 33 grind kind of stuff. So just like I just boost the volume, take out the lows, and crank the high mids. Then from the AZG, I go into an AMT power loader. I think that's how it's called, right? Load box, yeah, sorry.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Into an AMT load box, and from the load box, I go into an AMT Pangea. It's an IR player, kind of. It's kind of the Moore radar thing.
Right, that was the first. That one came out beforehand because I was looking at it before the radar came out.
Yeah, I think it's already like 2 years old or something like that. The Pangea, or even earlier, maybe. I don't remember really. And then there I use like some of my own custom impulses that I made from either different recordings or just from me miking up cabs. Or recently, actually, like I think 4 days ago, Ownhammer released a new pack of impulses. It's from the Friedman cab, and those are like absolutely wonderful. I just like I tried them out and I was like, okay, these are like the best impulse responses I've heard like in years. So I would totally recommend them. They're like super awesome.
Cool. I've heard a couple demos of them.
Really outstanding. Very great. And before them, I mean, I used I think it was the Mesa cab, also from Ownhammer, and a diesel cab. The diesel is the oldest one. I don't even think they have it now on their website. But they were also like really cool. But this Friedman one, it just like blows everything out of the water.
Yeah, I might have to drop some cash on that one. I've been
totally. You won't regret it. It's like the best thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, my go-to sound has usually been V30s mixed with T75s, or just a totally different mic on V30s to get more of that flat response. But the Bogner stuff with T75s and V30s mixed, I've liked a lot. So I think that Friedman would be a good fit. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah. And they also have, of course, the 30s and 75s in that. I'm not sure actually about the 75s, but 30s like 100%.
Yeah, they're kind of my go-to. So you've kind of got the modern, convenient recording setup. It sounds like, which is how I think 90% of guitars should approach it anymore.
Yeah, especially with the size of my head, it's like a lunchbox almost.
Yeah, how do they
really
cram so much of the gain? And I mean, it's, you know,
I don't know. Somehow he does it.
it's amazing because, you know, that has. It looks like the size of like a small, not, you know, micro tear small, but small orange, and it's very impressive.
Oh yeah. I mean, it looks like you know, that Boss katana kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like it's really tiny. But it's 50 watt, like full blown 50 watt, and it has an 18 watt switch, which I actually use because my load box is like it takes maximum of 15 watts.
Okay, so you've got the AMT 15.
I just don't crank the master too much.
Gotcha. That's, yeah, if you get the power soak and all that, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's kind of what I've recommended to so many people going forward. I got a couple buddies that play guitar where I work, and like they don't even know about, you know, direct recording and load boxes and all that kind of stuff. So I hope that takes off a little bit more.
Well, yeah, that's very convenient. And I mean, now with the quality of all the impulse responses, I mean, I don't know. I don't see myself miking cabs anymore.
I wouldn't either. Not that I could here. I'd get evicted. So another thing we have in common that I quickly found on your channel, you are heavily influenced by Devin Townsend as well.
Yeah.
You got some very good vocal covers and amazing Love cover.
Oh, thanks a lot.
Yeah. Oh, you're welcome. Definitely deserve it. I guess how did you come to discover him? How does that influence your music?
Well, actually, I discovered him in a pretty like funny way. My like XXXX drummer was always listening to Strapping Young Lad. The album Strapping Young Lad, that one with the feather.
The third one. Okay.
Yeah. And someday he just like gave me the headphones, and he was just like, "Oh, check it out! It's like awesome stuff." And I totally remember that he gave me Relentless, and I was like, "This is so like fucking weird." It's like thrash death metal with power metal vocals. Like, what's going on? It's so strange. Like, okay, I didn't understand it. And sometime later, one of my friends again kind of tried to show me Strapping Young Lad, and then I already like started to show some interest. I was like okay with the vocals, because I was more of an like extreme vocal guy, like totally screaming, no notes. Who needs that? Yeah, and eventually it kind of grew on me, and I started to explore like his whole catalog. And with time, it just like blew me away. When especially when I found Ocean Machine, I was just like, oh my god, what is this? And I mean, even today, it's still my favorite Devin Townsend release. So
agreed with that. That's why I got that one signed. Yeah, you kind of got in some of your music, kind of got the wall of sound thing going on, to where the more I listen to it, I hear these fractals of notes that I didn't pick up on the first time. I love that. I can't pull it off the way he does, but I keep coming back to it for that reason.
Well, that's totally a Townsend influence. Yeah.
I guess back to the your live playing experiences. Do you have any interesting touring, gigging experiences that you'd like to share?
Well, actually, I'm not like gigging that much. I'm more of a like recording artist. But I don't know, interesting stories. Well, we had a pretty nice time actually when we went with Kardikia to Euroblast. It was, I think, 2013. And it was like super crazy because we actually like played the show pretty awful. it was bad. And we played, they had 2 stages, one kind of the main stage. And they also had like a second stage. It was kind of in an underground bar under the main stage.
Oh, never heard of that. That's interesting.
So it was like totally a different place. You had to go there, like really go there. So I think there were like 30 people there or something like that. So I mean, the gig itself, it was like not doing anything for us. But the time we spent there was just like the best 3 days. The festival was like awesome. Meshuggah were headlining that year, which is like the best thing ever.
Oh yeah.
And really like a big amount of awesome bands were playing that year. And I mean, I was living in Serbia, actually in Belgrade that time. I moved there for like 7 months. And I was flying from Serbia. And I mean, I just started drinking just a little beer in the Serbian airport. And the moment where I was like completely sober, it was when I came back to Serbia.
So
the whole time was just like crazy.
That's awesome. Well, you know, it's a good time then.
Well, kind of, yeah. It's at least it was fun, but of course, I'll never do anything like that again because it's too much.
You gotta have a bender every now and then. So Euroblast, remind me, where is that?
It's in Germany, in Cologne.
Okay, I was about to say Austria, but do you have to kind of go out of the way to see touring bands? Because you know, we even in the Americas for European bands, they might hit like 4 big cities, and of course we've got our American bands. You can see them within a 3-hour drive most of the time, but in Russia, is it like hard to see a Metallica or even someone, you know, a tenth their size? Do they come close, or are you like better off just flying to Germany or or Sweden for a weekend?
No. It's like totally common here. I mean, all the big bands, and even not the big bands, come here like at least to Moscow and St. Petersburg, like 100%. Even, I mean, we were waiting for Devin Townsend to come here for like, I don't know, 15 years already. But eventually even he came, so... so yeah, we don't really have a problem with that.
Well, that's good.
I mean, we're in a pretty good position that we have all the European bands come like to play in Moscow, and also all the American bands. So we just like have the whole melting pot of bands here. They all come. Eventually they all come to Moscow. So
oh, that's good.
We don't have to go anywhere.
So I guess then the big cities have a fairly healthy metal scene.
Well, that would be, of course, like a valid guess. But sadly, no, you're wrong. Our metal scene is just like damaged. I don't know. I mean, we have a big amount of bands. Even not in the capital city, and we have bands all over Russia, and pretty good bands. But the whole scene is just like, it just doesn't exist. Even with the more kind of famous bands here, I mean, like Russian bands, 150 people, if they come to the gig, it's like really awesome. So that means that you're just like packed.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, and I think that's mainly because of our mentality, the Russian mentality. We kind of like going for free stuff. So, but actually, that whole idea is it's kind of pretty hypocritical, because people spend money, for example, on like absolutely like a nonsense,
right?
For example, on beer, some weird food, anything, weird clothes, but they don't want to spend like Let me count. Wait a second. So, for example, the average price of a local gig is like 500, 600 rubles, and that's around $8, I think.
God.
And yeah, that's like, why not? But people are still like,
They won't even get you through the door, most bars.
yeah. And they're like, oh man, I don't know, it's like so expensive, I'll better sit at home and like jerk off, I don't know. watching YouTube videos of other bands.
That really sucks. That dumb, uneducated question. Do you think that part of that is stemming from the USSR days, or is it just a cultural thing?
No, I don't think that that's any way connected to the USSR days, because if you even like look at people, how they act and kind of live now, it's totally different from the USSR days. So I mean, most of our people, I mean, just like ordinary people, they, in big cities, of course, because we won't take the rural areas, like some far cities, like in Siberia or closer to Japan. Yeah, they kind of are still in the USSR mode. They listen to very weird old music and act like super weird, but okay, let's not take them. That's okay. I'm just taking the big cities. In big cities, I mean, it's mainly like Moscow, St. Petersburg, and cities like this. They are kind of European. You can call them like that. So people here are pretty modern. So I just think that that's just kind of a whole mentality thing. It's not connected to any regime or anything like that. It's just a Russian thing.
Gotcha. So people are just cheap and don't want to pay for entertainment.
Yeah, totally. And not only for entertainment, they don't want to pay like for anything. They try to get everything for free. I mean, when every time we have a Kardikia gig, like a local gig in Moscow, my inbox is just exploding with messages from like different so-called friends, who are like, "Oh, dude, do you have a free pass? Maybe we can, maybe you can give us like 5. I have friends who want to come." I'm like, "Come on, man, it's like cheap as fuck. You can just pay and come if you want to support us." He's like, "Ah, damn, dude, I don't have any money," and then he just goes and gets drunk at some bar and spends like 5 times more.
Exactly. That's like a college student thing to me, but
yeah.
That's pretty unfortunate, because it's one of those weird things. Sometimes you just don't hit that critical mass of people you need, which I think is the problem in a lot of, not big cities, but bigger cities like Cincinnati or something like that, in the States. But yeah, it really sucks when you can't get even like your local guys, at least let them pay rent off of what they're doing.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's actually the only problem in the Russian scene, because if that problem was kind of eliminated, then I think the scene would be pretty strong and pretty big, and there would be really like interesting tours that bands could do in Russia. But no, not today.
Have you ever considered, I mean, may or may not be at the level where it makes sense for you, but like I've heard from more than one international player that it's actually worth their time to like go stay in a city for 2 months and get local gigs.
Well, yeah, I mean, if we would be in that position where the whole band could do it, maybe it would be a good idea. But now, I mean, like half of the band has children. We're like, we have wives, and our drummer's like around 50 years old. I don't know. I don't think that'll really work out. Like maybe 10 years ago. But 10 years ago, we were just like stupid teenagers who wanted to like drink all day and be cool. So we weren't really thinking about
sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Yeah, kind of. It was not as cool as it sounds, but still. Yeah, and now when we all understand it, it's well, maybe not too late, but it's kind of late to make some impulsive moves, probably.
Well, if you've got your mixing thing going on and that's that's working out for you, then good enough.
I mean, I'm having a good time like mixing bands and like mixing my own stuff, recording at home. I wouldn't say that if I would have a possibility to just like tour the hell out of it, I mean, to just be on road all the time, I don't think that I would actually go for it at this point. I mean, I'm happy to play like gigs, like separate gigs, maybe like small tours, maybe like just a week run or something like that. But I don't think I'm ready to just like dive into tour life like nowadays. So I kind of see myself in a pretty good place now because I'm happy. I mean, I'm kind of a family guy, and I'm cool with that.
I completely agree. That's one thing I can never envision myself doing, is being away for 3 to 6 months in some foreign place.
Yeah, that's like crazy for me. I don't understand how people do that.
Nope, me either. I'd much prefer to like do the every couple weeks, Friday, Saturday night playing, and then just be able to sit at home and screw around and play what I want to play then.
Yeah, totally.
And you got avenues like, do you have like a Patreon or anything other than just Bandcamp?
Actually, no. But I'm thinking that I'm just being too stupid with my promotion side of things, and I should just like do something about it, because all my stuff is like so unorganized. It's like all over the place, and I don't know. I should just probably, I don't know, maybe get someone to do it, or just like manage to figure it out myself, and just so that people can just come and see what's going on, and like so that everything is on its shelf. Because now it's like, what's going on? I don't know. So yeah, probably I should start that kind of thing too.
No, I totally share that frustration with my current stuff. It's honestly probably within like the top 3 reasons I've not released anything yet, and I've hoped to by the end of the year. But it's like I've got so much disjointed music that I'd like to get out there. I don't know how to brand it. I don't know how to make it, both to where it goes to its primary intended audience, but that audience can also know that I'm involved in this other stuff. I don't know. I'm kind of at a deadlock there.
Yeah, so, man. That's such a pain in the ass.
So you can only hope that you've garnered dedicated fans like Devin Townsend has, that will listen to an ambient song 1 minute and Strapping Young Lad the next. That's the only thing I'm banking on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how to solve that problem. If you figure it out, just let me know. But I think
okay, I will.
Honestly, the whole donation thing, if you can get, hell, if it pays for just a little bit, a bill or so a month, that's doing something. I've not done it because this isn't my primary gig, but hell, man, if all I did was music related, absolutely, I would plug all that shit there.
Well, actually, we kind of in Russia have this thing that when all these crowdfunding kind of things became a thing. Sorry for using the word "thing" like 100 times, but you get the point. When crowdfunding became a thing, yes. Kind of people started like immediately hopping on this like trend wagon, and some of the kind of older guys in the scene, and me too, we kind of saw it like this is a weird thing to do, because it's kind of it's like kind of begging for money from fans, and that's how we saw it, and that's why probably I'm not doing it like till nowadays, because I probably have that kind of thought somewhere in my in a subconscious kind of level. I understand that it's not working that way. I mean, it's just fans pay for stuff just in advance. But I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing here, just to understand. So maybe that's why I didn't get into all these kind of donation, crowdfunding kind of things. Maybe I should change that, but I don't know. Didn't think of it.
I mean, I kind of have the same mental hangups where, you know, you're also a content creator. You put out videos and that kind of stuff. For something that recurs like that, and even just a musician in general, there's costs associated with it. And I think most bands understand that. So, or most, listeners understand that. So I definitely think there's a place for it. It also definitely gets abused. It's like, hey, I'm going to make some sock puppets on Etsy. Pay me $15 a month to see a video of me doing it. Yeah. Like, what the, huh? But, yeah, man, I would definitely try it out. Again, the only reason I've not gone down that path is because it just wouldn't make a significant difference to me. And I like what I do, and I don't care. So, but if that's all I did, yeah, I'd hoard out.
Well, there's also like another problem in this thing because, I mean, I really want to get my YouTube channel like in some better direction than it is today, because it's also like all over the place. My videos are coming out like, I don't know, one video in a month. Who needs that? And I always kind of try to make myself like keep a kind of a momentum going on with that, but for some reason I just every time I either forget it or I'm just okay, like I'll do the video tomorrow, like it's okay. And of course that tomorrow is like a week long. And for kind of those reasons, my channel is like growing super slowly, because I just can't keep like hold of the people. And also I don't have like a real kind of, I don't know how to call it, like an idea of this channel, because it's like, this is like everything I do in just one channel. So it's like jokes, I don't know, like covers, original music, everything, then some weird video, then something else. And probably I think that people just come to my channel and are like, so what's going on here? We just don't understand. So why subscribe? And that leads me into that idea that if I even make some Patreon kind of thing and just plug it in to my video descriptions, like people don't know why are they paying me? Like, what does this guy do? So probably I should just get that sorted at least in the beginning.
Yeah, I've found that focus, even if you have to sacrifice some of the stuff that you would otherwise like to do, definitely helps. It kind of sucks in some ways, but I totally sympathize with that. I try to do every 3 to 4 days, and it's fucking brutal. I mean, I don't know how some of these people with full-time jobs do one video a day. They're insane.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But I mean, now the YouTube, like used to, and you've got some, channels that got on the bandwagon early and are still successful that they do, but you got like review guys like I Hate Everything. You might get a video every 2 weeks out of him and it'll still be successful because he's a big channel, but the days of growing at one video a month are over, and it's stupid. I hate YouTube for it.
Totally.
Because I watch every one of your videos. I watch plenty of people.
Yeah, it's like so oversaturated.
Exactly. And really all media in general is kind of going to that, whether it be shows, video games especially. Everything wants to be this live service to where that's all, like you dedicate your life to this one platform. It's like we watch other stuff, we do other stuff. I'd rather have a concentrated small amount of good stuff than watch 10 hours of crap that all these other people are making.
Yeah, totally.
So I sympathize with it. I don't know. Some people get around it by making multiple channels. I think YouTube could do a better job with letting the content creator make different shows or different, whatever you want to call it, to segment. Here's my funny stuff. Here's my tutorials. Here's my playthroughs. Here's my whatever, in a better job than
but
playlists.
I kind of try to label that just with playlists. So, but at the same time, I don't know. I don't think that actually works that good.
I agree.
So yeah. Probably at this moment only separate channels, but that's like That's a pain in the ass.
Very true. Yeah, they could do so much more to help us out in that kind of way, because say, you know, I wanted to say someone wants to subscribe to one of us and just wants to see covers. Why couldn't they just subscribe to the playlist cover? And every time that something gets uploaded, they see that, but they don't have to see everything else. You know, I hate YouTube, if you can't tell.
Oh yeah, YouTube is just like fucking people up now. And instead of like improving or making some new interesting features, they're just like screwing up the algorithm like again and again, and you're just like, oh my god, why is this video like getting just like 200 views?
Yep. And then you've got the don't call your twin at 3 a.m. challenge that gets 70 million because they push it to children.
Yeah.
It's real good. Really gives you hope in society.
Yeah.
I think we probably both jumped on the whole YouTube thing a little. I don't know how long what's your first video when you were actually starting to get into it consistently?
Let me check. I don't know. Oh, there's All England here. He's in my YouTube. Oh my god. Wait a second. Everything is blowing up. Well, the first video I have uploaded here is like 6 years ago.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, it was like I was doing like 3 videos a year. Yeah, here I see 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that was 6 years ago. Then 5 years ago I did 6 videos. Oh, sorry, no. Wait a second. I did like 12 videos 5 years ago. Okay, that's almost a video a month.
That shouldn't be discouraged. Like a good show will have, you know, what, not even 20 episodes in a year, and then why can't we treat content like that?
Well, and I mean, even back then when I had some, I mean, I didn't do like anything to the YouTube channel. It was just there, and the only way how I promoted the videos was just like posting it on my Facebook page and my VK.com page. VK.com, it's like the Russian Facebook. And that's the only thing, and I kind of had like views on some of the videos. I mean, even comparing to like today, I had this Devin Townsend cover, the Jewel Art. It's like 5,300 views, and now I post stuff, and now I use AdWords because like I just can't do shit without it, because I mean, I released this Katy Perry metal remix like 4 days ago, and even though I kind of posted it everywhere, like today it has 280 views, and that's just like, what? I don't know. I never had like such a drop in views as like the recent half a year. It's just like crazy.
I agree.
I don't know why.
And it's not just small content creators like us. It's people with millions of subs that are like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah.
That's always a kick in the balls when you put so much effort into. I mean, hell, my latest cover is sitting at like 300 and something. I think they came out at like within a day or two of each other, and probably same reason. You know,
yeah.
I'm
It's
guessing
like
you also loaded up with tags.
Yeah, I loaded it with everything, and I mean, I put it in AdWords, but now they're like 3 days. They're still reviewing the advertisement, and I'm like, oh, come on, are you serious? I don't know. I mean, you're like uploading it, and you're sitting like, okay, now it'll be cool. I'll get up tomorrow in the morning, and probably there'll be some views, and you're like 99 views, and you're, come on, what's going on? I mean, who doesn't want to listen to Katy Perry, right?
You would think that'd be a banger with 2 popular pop artists in the title, but what do I know anymore?
Yeah.
That's something I try to explain.
I don't know what to think. Yeah, totally, man.
Yeah, I don't know. That was a phenomenon I was trying to explain to family, even, I don't know, back in when I was, you know, first playing guitar, 3 or 5 years after that. They're like, yeah, why don't you upload to YouTube? And at that time, maybe we got seen a little bit more since the guitar world wasn't so saturated, but I was telling them, it's like, it's not magical. You don't just put up a video when everyone sees it. Even back then, the algorithm sucked, but now, good lord.
Yeah, now it's just like dead.
Yeah, I guess my personal advice to anyone that wants to get into this is Either don't or have a very unique idea.
And that unique idea should be like super viral. It should be just like someone sees it and it's like, okay, I'm sharing the shit out of it, like right now.
Right.
But with music, I mean, it's like, I don't know what to do to get such a reaction. Maybe like I don't know, even the idea that I had in my head now, it's like, it's not valid.
I don't know. I can't make myself think that way. And even sometimes I'm like, I can make my thumbnails garbage and clickbaity and a bunch of circles and arrows and you won't believe what happens at whatever, but I cannot stoop to that level. I cannot make myself do it. I just refuse. I'm not playing the game.
Well, actually, I kind of tried like blogging. I mean, like just not musical blogging, like just blogging. I have 2 blog videos here. I did all those stupid thumbnail shitty stuff. I just wanted to experiment. I wanted to try it out. It's like in Russian, so it's like it's like totally for the Russian audience. I even plugged like a celebrity in the first blog. That's the vocalist of like one of my bands. He's the grandson of a big, very, very big pop artist here in Russia. And I was like, okay, this should work out. And well, now I have like almost 5,000 views on this video, but 3,000 are like just like I was testing out some algorithm of some program, so they are not real. So, well, I think it's like 2,500 of real views on this video. And then I did like the second blog also with all those thumbnails. There's Trump there, Kirk Hammett, everything you need. So, and Trump is a cat.
Oh,
so,
yes.
So
I see it now. That's a pretty baller thumbnail.
Yeah. Who wouldn't want to click that? And it's like 2,000 views. I don't know. And even actually now, if I would get 2,000 views for something that I just like posted, I would be like, oh yeah, awesome. But like a year ago, that wasn't too good.
That is so angering to see.
And I thought that it's like too much for me. I didn't want to continue this kind of thing.
Well, I can respect that. I'm sure. I mean, I'm talking about all these problems, and I speak English as my primary language, so I can't imagine trying to do this to an even more segmented audience.
Yeah.
Although, there's like huge Spanish YouTubers and all that kind of stuff, but yeah, that's got to be brutal when you've cut off your potential worldwide viewership to a couple countries.
Oh, yeah, kind of. But actually, we have kind of a big following, well, nowadays in Russia of these, the stupid section of YouTube with all the like totally moronic bloggers and all that kind of shit. I mean, to the Russian segment of course. There's an enormous amount of all these Russian bloggers who became like pretty big now. Like with millions of subs and stuff like that, and they're like Russian, like 100%. I mean, linguistically. So that's kind of the thing in Russia now, like to be stupid on camera. So that's what I wanted to kind of play on with these blogs, because I was also acting like a dumbass in these 2 videos. But still, I don't know. I'm pretty sure that all these, the most famous bloggers, like now in Russia, they're like, for some reason, they all are from very rich families. And I'm like,
oh, that's also a trend over here
okay.
too.
Yeah, that must do something.
And probably a little bit of entitlement and attention whoring, if I had to imagine.
And like loads of money on advertisement.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. They probably pull that in and take advantage of their corporate connections.
Yeah, of course. And they get their millions of subs.
What a life that must be.
And well, I mean, kids like to watch shit.
I just don't remember being that stupid.
Well, yeah, maybe.
I mean, I watched like Jackass and that kind of stuff, but like, I mean, I know I'm I'm not that damn old, but I know I'm getting old, and I'm becoming more disconnected with what's popular. But God, I look at some of this stuff, I'm like, hey, how is this real? Like, how do people find this entertaining?
Yeah. Yeah, now we're the old man. Yeah, it's our time to kind of be grumpy about all the young stuff.
Well, I think we've hit every question on here, so that's a new record. We're about an hour in.
That's nice.
If you got anything else you want to talk about, go for it. Otherwise, feel free to plug everything you want to plug, and I will put links in the description. Hopefully, send some new fans your way.
Well, I think we kind of covered all possible grounds. So I don't know what to say. Just I hope we get to a good point someday. And yeah, that's about it. Well, maybe I can just talk a little about some upcoming releases that I'll have.
Yeah, please do.
So we'll soon have a new EP with Kardikia. We are not giving away any release date because it'll be kind of a surprise release, but it'll be soon, so that'll come out. Then with my new project Qatari, we'll have a single in, I think, a month or so, and after that we'll have an EP with that single. And yeah, and also I'm releasing an EP with my project Hellrune. It's kind of a Sympho Black kind of thing in early 2019. But I mean, we have like almost half a year till that, so who cares? But still. And
hey, hype the shit out of it, just like everyone else does.
Yeah. After half a year, you'll hear like the best thing ever. Prepare for it, like really good.
Mark your calendars.
Well, yeah, and I'm having some really nice news with the Inspector guitars this fall. So we're having our own little NAMM music messe kind of thing.
Oh, nice.
Here in Moscow in September.
Very cool.
And I'll be together with the Inspector showing some new models and stuff like that. And also in the future we'll be designing like one interesting model together.
An Arsafes signature, is that what we can expect?
Probably. Let's call it like that.
Very cool.
Well, at least it'll be like a collaboration kind of model. Well, I think that's kind of all for now. So those are my plans.
Awesome. Well, sounds
Yeah,
ambitious.
I want to plug my YouTube channel because I need views.
Everyone, go to the link in the description. I'll put it in the comment.
Yes, be sure to do that.
For sure. Well, man, I very much enjoy all of your stuff, content. Music is super interesting. If I'm doing something boring at work, you were among the stuff I've been putting on. So
thanks a lot, man. It's really nice to hear that.
Oh, you're welcome. I turned that ad block off too. But yeah, everyone, please go check out Roman, all of his music, all of his content, and hope we get to do this again sometime. Please do send me DIs for the Fortin grind and the other pedals if you'd like some new EQ curves to play with.
Sure, yeah, I will.
That'd probably make an interesting collab video. Probably should have done that last time, but oh well.
Yeah. I think we can do that.
Cool, because I use your 33 curve like on half the patches I make on the Axe 8, so it works great. All right, well, if nothing else, I greatly appreciate you taking time out of your afternoon to do this, and yeah, hope we get to keep in touch.
Sure, man. Thanks a lot.
No problem. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye-bye.